Hold on, 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 hold on. We are here. We are gathered. It's been an amazing day of football. Let's get things going. What a day, everybody. What a day week 3 has been around the National Football League. And so glad you're here for the Sunday Pig Pile. We are ready to go, and I'm so excited about my guest tonight. I have so much admiration for her work in the industry. She's a sports talk host. She's a reporter. She's a sideline reporter. She's an anchor on TV. Leila Rahimi from Chicago's Score 670. On Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears breakout win tonight over the Dallas Cowboys. That's coming up in about a half hour from now. We've got a brand new signature emoji to unveil and details of a listener event coming up on Saturday that is going to blow your mind. And when you saw me just before going, look, I had not put in the necessary Instagram go live key code. And I wanted to make sure our Instagram fam could do so. So while we were playing that open, I was ready to go, punch it in. And so we are live on X. We are live at Instagram. We are live on YouTube, as always, on Sunday nights. Let's get things kicking with your Furious Five. The Cleveland Browns end up with one of the craziest wins, one of the wackiest endings to a game that you will ever see, and an upset of pretty titanic proportions, at least when it comes to the lines today. It was one of the biggest, fattest, juiciest lines of the afternoon. Packers by more than a touchdown. But here are the Browns getting their first victory. The Packers were considered by some, including myself, to be perhaps the best team in football. And here they are laying a complete egg, just 10 points scored against the Browns in a 13-10 loss, and that crazy ending where the Browns end up kicking the game-winning field goal and all the craziness that happened at the end of this game. That's going to be one that leaves a mark, as we say, for the Green Bay Packers. But I was left with this thought. Imagine the Browns had any quarterback play. Imagine if the Browns had a franchise quarterback. Imagine if the Browns had Baker Mayfield, or even the Deshaun Watson we saw in Houston. Imagine they had anybody but 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who really can't throw much of a forward pass anymore, just 142 yards on the day, no touchdown to the interception. And the Cleveland Browns really right now have a defense that can compete with just about anybody. I mean, in the Browns' opening loss against the Bengals, they had multiple missed kicks. They really probably should have won that game. Late turnovers, but a defense that kept them in that game to the end, holding Joe Burrow, when he was healthy, and the Bengals offense to 7 yards in the second half. 7. And today we see against the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs and company, holding them down to 10 points, allowing the door to remain open for the upset victory. There's a reason why Cleveland Browns fans feel so tortured. And it's not just that they haven't gone or won a Super Bowl. It's that there's always this promise that the team could be pretty good if only they could find a quarterback. And that damn position just keeps eluding them for decades. And they can draft a guy and he's a bum. They can sign him as a free agent. He's a bum. They can find a guy that was great somewhere else and he's a bum. They find a guy, and when he goes somewhere else, he's no longer a bum. It is mind-numbing for Browns fans, I'm sure, to be going through this time and time again. But the Browns are going to have to win in spite of their quarterback play this year. And if they only had some type of middle of the road, somewhat credible quarterback, imagine how frisky, how dangerous, how interesting the Cleveland Browns can be. This is a squad that probably deserves to be 2-1 with wins over the Bengals and the Packers. Probably deserves to be 2-1. They'll take the win today, a massive upset over the Green Bay Packers, and survivor pools shake and wiggle and quake as the favorite Packers succumb. Dum, dum, dum. Other insanity from the early window on Sunday. Let's look at the AFC North's Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, what is that? This was a Bengals game. This was a Bengals matchup that actually was kind of important, because if you're going to have to tread water for 3 months without Joe Burrow, you're not going to get a lot of layups. And a layup usually is getting the backup quarterback that you're facing. In this case, the Bengals were going up against a guy that they really should have been able to keep in check, and that would be Carson Wentz. Wentz has been on 6 teams in 6 years. Final score, Vikings 48, Bengals 10. I mean, come on. Can you show up? Can you just show up? I'm going to start with the big picture, then we'll get to the smaller picture here. The big picture is, when it comes to this schedule, for the next 3 months, let's make that 12 games, okay? You've got to find, I would say, 5 wins. I don't think you can afford to be worse than 5-7 in these 12, okay? So if you can find your 5 wins there, you'd be at 7-7, perhaps when Joe Burrow comes back, okay? Well, if you're going to find 5 wins, playing a backup quarterback today was supposed to be one of them, because you are now at Denver, home to the Lions, at Green Bay, home to the Steelers, home to the Jets, home to the Bears, at the Steelers, home to the Patriots, at the Ravens, at the Bills, home to the Ravens. That would be your next 12. So when you've got 2 against Baltimore, you've got a trip to Buffalo, you've got a trip to Lambeau, you've got a trip to Denver, you've got the Lions. There's not a lot of layups in there. Today was supposed to be one of those, and instead, not only did they lose, they get absolutely waxed. And let's talk about the day that Isaiah Rodgers had. If you were watching this game, if you were at the stadium, that will forever be the Isaiah Rodgers game. You'll never have another one that is that defined by one defensive player. I mean, this guy was outrageous on the day. Absolutely outrageous. Isaiah Rodgers had an 87-yard interception return, pick 6. Rodgers had a 66-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown and forced 2 fumbles. If you went into Pro Football Focus and looked at how they graded this and the history of them grading, it is one of the highest individual grades they have ever assessed. You watch the Isaiah Rodgers game, and by virtue of that and Carson Wentz not messing things up, the Vikings cruised to a victory when Jake Browning and the Bengals completely imploded. How pathetic. You know what? Losses like this bother me because I want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs. I want to see him come back with some type of season, and you're not going to get that. We're not going to get that if they play like that. Chumps! Elsewhere in the early window, Eagles and Rams. This was a rematch, of course, of the divisional round of the playoffs, a game in which Rams played tight, Rams played tough in the snow, and Saquon Barkley took 2 to the house, long runs. That was the difference. I thought the Rams were going to win this football game. I picked them on Sunday morning's NFL radio show. I had them as my upset pick, and instead, you have the end of the game, blocked field goal, returned back for a touchdown, and that's how you lose. A crushing loss for the Rams because, number one, You played well enough to win. Number 2, that's the tiebreaker if it comes down to it, and you got to go back out to Philly. Cold weather, frigid weather, elements, Philly crowd. You saw it last year. You don't want to have to do it again. That was a crushing way to lose. And for the Birds, for the Eagles, you're talking about now stacking some wins against formidable opponents, even when you don't play your best football. Cowboys, not formidable, but a division win to open things up. Obviously, the Chiefs last week, and now the Rams. I said this before this game. I said this before the Chiefs game. I think you are going to see the Eagles as a somewhat work in progress for a lot of this year. And I think what you're going to have is a really freaking dangerous squad in January. Top to bottom, they may have the best roster in football. Top to bottom, they don't have weaknesses. And if they stay healthy at key positions, quarterback, running back, we know the deal, they're going to have all the weapons they need to do it exactly what they did last year. But in the case of now we know how to finish, what it's going to take, and when things don't look great, which they didn't remember early last season, we know how to keep it, the toothpaste in the tube, to keep the train on the track to get to January and then play our best football. I think that's going to happen. I do. I think it's going to happen. I think what we've seen the last couple of weeks is there's multiple ways they can beat you. Now, a blocked field goal, not a recipe for success. You don't design that in, okay, we're going to go into this game and we're going to rely on a blocked field goal to win. But you got to figure it out sometimes. You need a big play in a big moment, and that was that. I will also say, if you or a family member had the Rams plus 3.5, you may be entitled to financial compensation. I mean, there's bad beats and there's that beat. Field goal goes in, you win the bet outright. The Rams win outright. Field goal goes wide, you still win your bet. Field goal gets blocked and it's smothered, you win the bet. Field goal gets blocked and returned for a touchdown, that's the only way you lose. Gambling. It's the feeling you pay for. All right, next up in the Furious Five. How about the Chargers? It was not a pretty win for the Chargers, but it is damn effective because the Chargers are now 3-0 with wins over everybody in the AFC West. I don't know many schedules that involve 3 consecutive division games to lead off the season. The schedule makers did the Chargers no favors. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Maybe the fact that you get the Chiefs in the opener in Brazil gives you a little bit of an advantage because maybe they're a little out of sorts. But you get the Chiefs, you get the Raiders, you get the Broncos right out of the chute, 1, 2, 3, and you knock them all down. You knock every one of those pins down. I think what's happening with the Chargers is super impressive. I was probably a year early on my prediction, and now I'm kicking myself for not stomping my feet and waving the banner the way that I did last offseason. Last offseason, I really felt like the addition of Jim Harbaugh would change the fortunes of a snake-bitten franchise. The Chargers, whether they were in San Diego or now LA, have always had elite talent, but they just didn't have a glue to bring it together. Their identity has really, since Air Coryell, been kind of lost. They didn't know what they were, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and some incredibly talented teams that just face planted the moment they got to the playoffs. I felt like Harbaugh would come in and change that because A, Harbaugh's going to build a brand of football that's not built to face plant, that's built to protect leads, that's built to protect a quarterback, that's built to be able to kind of slug it out with an elite team in the postseason when the weather could be a little grimy. And they were okay last year, but we saw them face plant in the playoffs. So coming out of that, what do you know? This year, they're better served, and they're not running the football all that effectively the way that maybe we thought they could or would. They lose Rashawn Slater, their left tackle in the preseason. That looked to be a real damning blow. And instead, what you have is a team that just puts together wins. And what does that sound like? It sounds like San Francisco under Harbaugh. It sounds like Michigan under Harbaugh. And now it sounds like the Chargers under Harbaugh. It's a 23-20 win over the Broncos. And now that sends the Broncos to their second loss. The Chiefs have 2 losses as well. And the Chargers are right now sitting atop the division at 3-0 with 3 wins over all their opponents in the division. That is a catbird seat of all catbird seats, okay? Now, maybe the AFC West isn't as good as it was previously promoted as. But nonetheless, to look like this in your first 3 weeks from a standing standpoint, pretty damn impressive. Nice job by Harbs. Nice job by Herbert. Nice job by those Superchargers. And finally, a little Bears and Cowboys reaction here, because we were all waiting for Caleb Williams to do something, to look credible, to look functional, to just look like he had some answer under center. There were too many plays of the first 2 weeks that made it feel like he just didn't have what it takes. And that sounds kind of vague, and I realize it's unspecific, but he was missing throws that a functional quarterback needs to make. Not should, needs to. And every time they got off of script, like those first 15 plays or the first drive or 2 of a game, Caleb just looked lost. That he kind of needed his hand held by the play calling for him to be comfortable in enacting what a quarterback should do naturally. And instead, today, it was anything but. He played off script at times. He made throws at every level. He made the easy throws in the underneath. He made the good throws in the middle of the field or the intermediate. He made deep throws as well. He moved out of the pocket and made throws. He made throws under pressure. The Cole Kmet touchdown, he's got a guy in his face. The deep throw down the sideline, he's kind of rolling out and also flings it on a dime when he sees his guy open. I mean, look, they're using a flea flicker there, which, you know, you'd like not to have to design flea flickers for, you know, your quarterback to make big throws, but enough worked. Also, the flea flicker toss is like 15 feet in the air. It felt like it took forever to come down. But at the end of the day, what you needed to see from Caleb and what you needed to see from Ben Johnson's offense was there. It was a beatdown. And the Bears exploded early and often. Caleb had 4 touchdowns thrown. He has no interceptions on the day. He has an elite game at 298. And, you know, you look at across the field at Dak, and Dak was the guy that looked like he was making mistakes. And he was flustered, a couple of bad interceptions that snuffed out drives for the Cowboys. The Bears needed this. Caleb needed this in the worst way. And you don't want to overreact to a week 3 game, but had the Bears lost and had Caleb looked lost against his former coach and defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, Matt Eberflus, there truly would have been high-level panic in Chicago. High-level panic. Now, to be quite honest, it was part of the reason we booked Leila Rahimi this week, because I thought we were going to have meltdown, sky is falling in Chicago. Instead, they get the opposite. Good job by Caleb, Ben, and the Bears. I think it's going to be Bears 720 to Cowboys 2. I think they get the safety. But I think Bears score like 700 or something like that. All right, you can leave your comments. We will get to all of those comments a little bit later on in Beam Ups. Also, we've got your football food of the week from Gal Fieri, and that would be our friend Kristen in Buffalo. We've got a brand new emoji also to unveil. So why don't we do this? If you're a member, okay, you got to join to be a member by clicking this button above me. All right. And if you were a member, you get a lot of nice perks. You get exclusive videos the raw feed or members-only content like the Ask DA Anything chat once a month. You also have that snazzy badge next to your name. It's a colored version of my cartoonish face. But you also get use in this live chat of custom emojis. And so why don't we unveil the newest custom emoji tonight, Aiden? And that would be Wonka D.A. As you see along this galaxy throughout the D-Alien universe, emojis exist of stunned to a news. Bring that up one more time. Stunned to a news. Making tacos. Rosie the cat. Cinnamon berry. Bears with tails and John Fisher the clown. Now you get Wonka D.A. What does using Wonka D.A. get you? Well, obviously joy, laughter, delight, but also a peek into this Saturday. Because I'm going up to Buffalo, and on October 1st, which would be next week? Yeah, next Wednesday or something, next Tuesday. That will mark 2 years at SiriusXM. 2 full years. I know so many of you listen to me at CBS Sports Radio. When I went over to SiriusXM, probably does not feel like 2 years ago already, but it was. And I've had such an amazing experience with Babs and on Mad Dog Sports Radio and doing the show on SiriusXM that I just really wanted to say thank you for an amazing 2 years. And so I'm going up to Buffalo. This was always the plan to go up to Buffalo for Bills and Saints. I had this peg back in May. This was going to be the game. And, I try to go up once a year. It's such a great party. I love everybody in Buffalo. And I decided to do this Bills podcast this year, Bill Matic. So all about it. Well, with Bill Matic, the podcast, which is really a YouTube series, also available just like this, live streaming after every Bills game on YouTube, on X, and on Instagram Live, and episodes we're going to start adding throughout the week as well with conversations with former Bills players, broadcasters, legends from the game that have kind of a sense of history about the Bills in this old stadium. I'm going to do a listener meet and greet. And we had an unbelievable connection with a sports bar that just opened up, which is a golf simulator sports bar in Hamburg, New York, called Sandbaggers. And they're like, DA, we've heard your show before. We love what you do. We're listening on SiriusXM. We would love to be the sponsor of Bill Matic. And they're like, we would love to do the meet and greet. So I said, this is awesome. So let's run this footage because Wonka D.A. is coming Saturday to Sandbaggers in Hamburg, New York, just outside of Buffalo. And it's called the Buffalo Bar Tab. I'm paying. That's right. Drink on me. We've got a 2-hour bar that's open to you. Your open bar on me. It's not open bar to me because I'm paying. But this is a big, huge thank you to the listeners who have invited me into their homes on SiriusXM. And for those that came with me to SiriusXM to Mad Dog Sports Radio, and a way for me to just say thank you. I can't say thank you enough. And so for 2 hours, 4 to 6, it's on. It's the Grand Prix. Okay? You go for it. They're going to actually hook us up with Labatt Blue Light specials. Of course, this is on me, but if you want to get there before 4 or after 6 and also take advantage of it, they're going to be Blue Light specials, which is amazing. I'm going to be there with Santo Tequila as well. So I have all types of awesome Santo cocktails. They're huge sponsors of the show. And I just really feel very grateful and thankful and lucky that I get to do what I do. I'm surrounded by amazing people such as yourselves. And you guys end up being the fuel that helps my dreams come true. Doing this show, doing the radio show, doing the meet and greets, doing Bob's Bar. All of those things are the things I dream about doing, and it doesn't work without you guys being there if I'm just kind of talking into a microphone to nobody. So it's a big, fat thank you. Please make it. Please come. If you can't come, tell somebody you know that's in Western New York, hey, go see DA. You can drink for free for 2 hours. And even if it's a friend of a friend of a friend, if it's a family member of a friend of a family member or whatever, send them my way. If it's a student, if it's a cousin, if it's an employee, if it's a long-lost friend, just send them my way. It doesn't have to be in person. Just be like, hey, go see DA and say, like, tell them it's on, tell them that you know me or whatever. I just really wanted to take this opportunity to say thanks to everybody. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. What's this bar tab going to look like? For the record, I'm not on the street. Let's try not to put me on the street either. Okay. I mean, I'm here to do good and spread good vibes, but I'm also not here to go poor. So let's just avoid like the high top shelf stuff. We could, but I don't want to throw a damper on this thing, but there's still diapers to pay for around here. And that could get a little ugly after Saturday. Anyway, enough of that. No doom and gloom. No doom looping around here. I'm paying Saturday, 2 hours, 4 to 6. Let's do this. Buffalo. Let's drink on me. Wonka D.A., Wonka D.A., Wonka D.A. You get a blue light. You get a blue light. You get a blue light. Hey, 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 oh, oh, oh. Sandbaggers, Hamburg, partay. Okay. All right. Let's see. What did I want to get to? Oh, before we get Leila in here, why don't we do a little Fitz magic as well, shall we? Because I always love this segment. This was the brainchild of Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel. And this is why he's just a great radio mind. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. His nickname is Fitzmagic. And we have the best fits of the day around the NFL. How about Matt Collins? Yeah, this is a guy best known for wearing no shoes. But in this case, he's wearing a Pablo Sanchez t-shirt and an amazing hairstyle. I mean, that's an incredible t-shirt. Pablo Sanchez t-shirt to the game today, also with bare feet, is something special. And Matt Collins is always a delight to have on Fitzmagic. He's kind of a mainstay. Next up, oh, you got to love this. Adam Thielen arrives to the facility in a Randy Moss throwback. Oh, look how sweet that is. That's like Randy Moss, 1998. Thanksgiving, 3 passes, 3 touchdowns, badass, the greatest jump ball receiver in NFL history. And that's just a sweet looking jersey. Adam Thielen reppin'. Randy Moss. Is that today? That looks cold. It looks like there's no leaves on the trees. And then finally, oh my God, does anything get better than these creamsicles? Now, why is this special? Well, I'm glad you asked, DA. Because these are specific to 1976. These are the expansion year uniforms, and they're different because they're orange numerals. When the Bucks have done their throwbacks, often they're the orange creamsicle home unis with the white numbers. But then also, shortly after the 76 season, they changed to red numbers on the white jerseys. So this is a very rare, very unique moment in time, and the Bucks would never dust these off because, oh, by the way, they went 0-14 as an expansion team. They were winless through most of year number 2. So they never wanted to break these out, but they did this year, 50 years of the Bucks, 50 seasons of the Bucks, and look at how much nicer the orange pops on the white uniform. I actually think those are nicer than the orange jerseys. That might sound blasphemous because it's coming from me, and I love the creamsicle uniforms, but these are so clean and so nice. The white on white is perfect. The shoulder piping or the shoulder stripes on the sleeves and then down the side of their leg with the white socks, white cleats, beautiful. The helmet has always, I think, been awesome, but the orange numbers is so cool. And the reason this also looks even better than I had imagined is because the only way that you would ever kind of conceive of what it would look like is the 1976 or 77 season. Well, back then, shoulder pads were a lot blockier. Jerseys weren't as form-fitting. And so it just didn't look this nice. Players they didn't look this sleek. So these jerseys in the new era, mama, I found my favorite jersey. Oh, goodness. These are just so good. B squared. There. So fresh and so clean, clean. So fresh and so clean, clean. Got that right. Oh, God, are they great. So there you go. That's what we got cooking around here on an edition of Watch D.A. Live. So we've been doing this now for 2 years, almost 2 years, doing Watch D.A. Live. This is our second full football season. And one of the coolest things about this show is that we've had just amazing guests on each and every week, especially during football season. We've had comedians and actors, people in Hollywood or friends of mine have joined us on the show. But when we hit football season, we have this incredible, never-ending march of talented, really great people. Week 1, Robert Turbin, Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. He's my co-host on NFL Radio Sunday mornings. Last week, FS1's Danny Parkins. He was able to kind of weigh in on the Chicago Caleb Williams stuff. And Danny obviously knows the NFL through and through with First Things First on FS1. And today's guest also with the Chicago ties. And as a precursor to this, once upon a time, I was asked to be a drafter in a sports media draft. Okay, this is kind of an industry draft of talent under 40. And I drafted our next guest because she's amazingly versatile. She does a lot of things really well. She can be an interviewer. She can be a host. She can be an anchor. She's just amazing in so many ways. I admire her career, her drive, her work ethic, and her smarts. She's awesome. She's a good friend of the show. Love having her on here this evening. Let's hear it for Leila Rahimi. It's happening. It's all happening. Leila.
Wow. That was the best intro I think I've ever had. I need to hire you. That was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I meant every single word of it. How are you?
Well, flattered, number one. Sincerely thanks, Damon, for believing in me and having me on today. And then number two, I was the only one of my co-hosts on Rahimi, Harrison, Grody on 670 The Score to pick the Bears. Wow. I had a feeling about this game because I knew that week 1 to week 2 is supposed to be the biggest jump for improvement in the NFL, but the Bears ran into a buzzsaw of conditions, not to make excuses for what we saw. 52 points speaks for itself when you allow that to the Lions, but it was a game in week 2 where the Lions had to make a statement. Dan Campbell said, we have to win. He was right. It was the home crowd. Lions fans felt like Ben Johnson had betrayed them by leaving. That was going to be a motivated game for many reasons. And they probably weren't the team that Micah Parsons and the Packers made them look like head-to-head the week before. This time around, you knew the Cowboys had given up 37 points to the Giants and needed overtime to beat them at home. That said everything I needed to know to think that this was a really good opportunity, especially for the Bears at Soldier Field to strike. And that's exactly what happened today.
I mean, this is by far Caleb Williams' best game. What was the difference today in his command and his decision-making? What did you see that was so different than what we've usually seen from him?
Well, a lot of the intangibles, for one. I would like to start with those because sometimes we don't get to. The offense looked in rhythm. And of course, you can say that after they rattle off a play or a drive that was the longest drive in the NFL so far this year, the 19-play drive. That was the backbreaker for, I think, the Giants on the other side. But additionally, it was the rhythm. You know, in that drive, you could tell especially that there was an offensive rhythm to it. That is not something that we've been able to say in Chicago for years. And it was a little bit discouraging seeing the Bears offense go 3 and out to start. I wanted to know how they were going to respond. Off of a turnover, they were able to drive down the field, and we saw the flea flicker, and that was a lot of fun. Get the big home run ball, and then they get points and a touchdown at that off of it. But you saw what the Bears were able to do when it came to the philosophy of Ben Johnson saying make the same things look different and the different things look the same. And QB1 was a big part of it. I think Williams did a good job with the cadence. I think you could tell the rhythm was there as far as how they felt like they were establishing people. And also, there were a lot of people just eating today offensively when it came to the tight ends getting into the mix. Colston Loveland targeted before he unfortunately goes down. We saw Kyle Monangai get more defined carries. We saw DJ Moore being used in a multitude of ways out of the backfield and also, of course, as a receiver. For him to catch that touchdown on that drive, I think was very culminating and part of, I think, what really stood out to me. But all of it starts, as you know, with the quarterback. And you could also tell there was that rhythm as well, and that being in sync with Drew Dahlman, the center. There were so many issues for, I'd say, the last 3 years with centers here. So you can really see how that is helping Caleb Williams, I think, grow and mature in this offense.
You brought up the game last week against the Lions, kind of the perfect storm. The Lions really had to win that game. Dan Campbell put a lot of pressure on his team. They delivered. They couldn't be embarrassed by Ben Johnson coming to their house and running up the score. But in the same way, was today really massive for the Bears? I mean, I kind of feel like if all of your co-hosts would never pick the Bears to win this game, the expectation was we're going to get to Monday and Matt Eberflus will have dunked on us and Caleb more questions about whether he's the guy and maybe Ben Johnson's a false prophet. If that would have happened, I feel like tomorrow would have been real sky is falling stuff in Chicago, right?
Well, I think we knew, and we keep saying to ourselves, the 2022 Lions started 1-6. The 2022 Lions started 1-6. The 2022 Lions started 1-6. So over and over, you're saying it again to yourself as a mantra, like Serenity Now from Seinfeld, because that's what's happening when you consider the growth and what you're okay with seeing out of a lack of progress out of the Bears. What was really insulting, though, I think is it would have been a way if the Bears had lost. For example, the 52 points, that was the most that the Bears had given up since the Mark Trestman era in 2014. If there's one thing that happens to Chicago Bears fans, it's insulting your sensibilities with the defense playing poorly. That's the one thing that, of course, it has been the standard here in town, has been defensive performance. And so for that to fall apart, that I think was the worst part of it for the Bears fans. Say CeeDee Lamb is healthy. And this is the Dak Prescott, Jake Ferguson, and CeeDee Lamb show as it turned out to be, at least for Ferguson. But say CeeDee Lamb's healthy and they go off for another 40-something points at home, fans would have not been happy. I think if it had been a close game and we were all somewhat anticipating that after the Dallas and Giants game, then you're probably talking about a situation that's a little closer. Like if you're talking about a 28-24 game or something like that, then I don't think it would be as bad. But if Dak Prescott and that offense had cooked again, Bears fans would be very mad.
You are a Texan, and so you know the Cowboys franchise well. Your career began in Dallas as an intern in sports talk. And so what to make of the Cowboys after this implosion today and another rough start to another season?
I'm dating myself, but the way I got that internship, which then turned into being on air at the Ticket in Dallas and working for Fox Sports Southwest as a producer, ultimately then sideline reporter, was by calling into the Cowboys postgame show. So, I mean, that's the team I still pay attention to.
You got roots.
And you have to, if you work in our business, that's not exactly something that goes away. But I was concerned about the hire of Brian Schottenheimer to begin with. I think, the tools are there. I think the personnel is there. But when something like this happens, trading Micah Parsons is just absolutely outrageous to me. There was no reason for it. And I actually did feel for Matt Eberflus a bit because Eberflus's resume as a defensive coordinator stands on its own, especially even with what he did with the Bears. But to trade away Micah Parsons in the NFC, not just outrageous, but after the Nico Harrison trade too, where Luka goes to the Lakers, and obviously that's not a big enough of a return to say the absolute least. I don't think 2 first-round draft picks for Green Bay was either when you consider the part where they keep drafting in the low 20s. It's almost like drafting or giving up 2 second-round picks in some ways. So given all of that, you've made your defense worse. And if last week didn't show it, today certainly did. You're letting a team grow on you because of what you were able to do. So the fact that Caleb Williams didn't get sacked today, keep in mind, he had been sacked 68 times last year. He was sacked 4 times in the Lions game last week. Dallas can't even get a sack. That tells you a lot about what you need to know about how bad the defense has gotten.
By coming on the show, we are sponsored by Santo Tequila. This is Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar's signature tequila. You will receive a complimentary bottle of Santo Blanco, which is absolutely delicious. I don't know how you like your tequila, but you're going to be very, I think, happy with the cargo that comes through to Chicago.
I'm very excited about that, and this is the closest to the Cabo Wabo I'm going to get anytime soon because it's football season, and we don't take time off in football season much, so I'm pretty excited.
Very good. I thank you very much. Hey, you got the Cubs in the postseason. Little juice in Chicago for October baseball over at Wrigley.
Yeah, meaningful September baseball is something that we haven't had in a while here, and it's the first time since 2020 for the Cubs to make the playoffs. Now we just have to figure out the health of Kyle Tucker, because that's a huge concern. And I know that everybody was happy to see him clinch last week, but getting swept by the Reds is not ideal. You want to try to have some sort of momentum when you go into the playoffs. You don't want to. What happens once you get in is also a concern. So that's something that we are also tracking as well. Everybody got to party in Pittsburgh, but that doesn't mean that you get the complete game from Tyler Green on day one of that series. And then, it continues. Sorry, I knocked my mic over. It continues the way it did going on after that. I get a little animated about these things, as you know.
Well, that's why we love you. We love the animation. We love also the knowledge. And we know that you're working your butt off around October baseball and football, et cetera. So enjoy the Santo Tequila, take the edge off, and you can sit back and watch Caleb actually look like a functioning quarterback with it. That's pretty good.
Very exciting development here, that is for sure. And a flea flicker to boot. Ben was in his bag today.
Well, yeah, by the way, a little risky, especially as the throw back to Caleb goes like 8 feet in the air. It looked like he was fielding a punt.
I just felt like in slow motion, somebody's going, no, but it worked. It worked. And a heck of a route run by Luther Burden too.
Yep. Great catch. Stayed in bounds. Touchdown. Big play today. A lot of big plays for the Chicago Bears. Leila Rahimi, one of the best. Thank you so much for joining us, Leila. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Damon. This is fun.
All right. Leila Rahimi joining us from 6-7 to the Score in Chicago with everything from Bears and Cowboys today. Like I said, this show has just been an amazing collection of great people, great guests, football knowledge, fun, especially during the football season. We get live guests on the show reacting to the day of football. Where else you getting that on this platform? So make sure you are subscribed to YouTube. Okay, get to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you get notified when we go live for this bad boy, and you can join in the chat with the comments with the other D-aliens. Also, we're live on X and we're live on Instagram Live every single Sunday night as well. And after Bills games, I'm doing Bill Matic on all the same platforms. So make sure you get to the YouTube channel, subscribe, click that button so you are connected to the world of the DA and the D-aliens. All right, I think it's time for some beam ups. Let's do this here. Let's see what you guys got cooking in the comments section. We welcome on the Market Marvel Aiden Hatton to let us know what we got. And I think, should we start off with our football food of the week? What do you think?
You took it right out of my mouth because I was going to say the same thing. Let's start with my Patriots going against the Steelers today. And Kristen in Buffalo cooked up perhaps the healthiest and most luxurious so far, the lobster Pittsburgh salad. Yes.
Ooh.
Today's football food of the week, as you see, at Kristen in the 716. And that does look pretty healthy. You see some tomatoes there. I don't know which kind of cheese it is, but the chicken as well as the pasta. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Those are the fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top there. Very impressive.
Yeah. So my guess is the fries representative of a Primanti Brothers sandwich. Primanti Brothers is one of my favorite sandwiches anywhere. It is a legendary Pittsburgh spot, and they, in their sandwiches, they shove French fries in the middle of it, and it's unbelievable. And so, I like the hot capicola with an egg on top of it. So they put the hot cap in there, they put the French fries in there. You got like a little cool coleslaw in there type thing. And then they put a fried egg on top. My God, it's an amazing, amazing sandwich. But right there, so you have the fries from the Primanti Brothers side of things. Then you put lobster in there, which obviously is a New England special. You put it on a salad with little tomatoes and little cheese sprinkled over it. Very nice. That is a very creative dish. Unfortunately for your Patriots, they looked great today. Beautiful retro Pat Patriot throwbacks, but played like the Patriots of like the late 80s.
Yeah, I describe it as kind of a salad game to fit the promo of the football food of the week.
Okay.
There was some good. There was some. It was a mixed bag. Not saying that there's any bad ingredients in Kristen's salad, by the way, but you had some great Drake May plays. You had him extending plays, running to the sideline, but you also had a back-breaking interception in the end zone, 5 turnovers, which has not happened in a Patriots game since I was in grade school, which, contrary to popular belief, was a long time ago. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of bad. And they didn't deserve to win today. As much of an Aaron Rodgers hater as I am, they deserve to win.
Kristen is due in a couple of weeks here with her baby, and we're all obviously rooting for Kristen. So the fact that she's still cooking up football food of the weeks for us that's the dedication that we love. And I know that Kristen, it's going to be hard to get out to the meet and greet, and so I don't look. I remember when the Bourbon Belle was 8 months pregnant. You're not going many places, so I totally get it. But if I do see Kristen, I will make sure from all the D-aliens, I give her a big hug from all you guys, and maybe even might have a little baby gift. We'll see. Maybe. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If I do get to catch up with her or her husband, Brian, that would be great, because I want to make sure that they are feeling the love from all you guys, because we're all very, very excited about the first true diaper D-alien. I mean, this is like literal. Really, the diaper D-aliens have been guys in their 20s or students that have worked for the show. We haven't actually had a newborn be a D-alien, but now we will have a literal diaper D-alien coming. So that's very exciting. What else we got here on the comments?
She actually has a piece of advice for you for the Buffalo trip if she does not see you.
Okay.
On this trip, do not sleep on the chicken finger sub. You've had wings, but it's also a delicacy here that hits different. So put that on the list.
All right. Very good. Yeah, I definitely will have wings. I'm going to be up there Friday after the show. I actually land like Friday evening around 7:00. So I'll have a dinner Friday night, and then lunch Saturday, dinner Saturday night, and then tailgate Sunday, and probably something after the game. So I'll try to do a little chicken finger sandwich in there. That sounds pretty good.
All right. Good to know. And we had also a ton of great submissions about people wondering what their team is. We can do a little your game in 60 seconds type deal on Watch D.A Live.
Okay.
And we got to start with Delta 9 Brian, member of the Jedi Council. He also sent in $5 for us to answer this question.
Okay.
D.A, do you think my Panthers balled out today because of those amazing uniforms, or are the Falcons just that bad? # keep pounding.
I tell you, Bri, I thought this was an easy Falcons victory coming into the game. I thought the way that their defense shut down the Vikings last week, how pitiful Bryce Young and the offenses looked in these first 2 weeks, I thought this was a mismatch, and I was so wrong. What we found out today, and I have a lot of respect for Dave Canales. I thought that he squeezed as much as you could squeeze out of Bryce Young. Benched him, remember last year, went back to him. People said, if you bench Bryce Young, he'll never be a starting quarterback ever again. You got to move on. No, that was wrong. They went back to him. He was better off for that. Today, the fact that they got a pretty productive day out of Bryce, he didn't make any mistakes. Great. After 5 turnovers to the first 2 weeks, great. But honestly, the big takeaway is, my God, the Falcons are the biggest frauds of all time. What a bunch of complete frauds. Here you are. Oh, Michael Penix brings juice to the offense. Raheem Morris telling us Bijan Robinson is the best player in football. Weapons on offense. They're going to bring the defense together. The defense looked great on Sunday Night Football against JJ and the Vikings. This is going to be kind of like better team, superior team, Falcons by double digits, and they lose in blowout fashion. Falcons are such frauds. Remind me never, ever, ever to pick them again. What a chump performance by the Falcons.
Well done. This is a year after year lesson with them. They are flashy for some reason because they got the cool uniforms and the cool stadium, and they usually have a cool quarterback. Remember Desmond Ritter? And this kind of leads right into the next comment. Smitty Werben Jagerman Jensen. Yes, I needed to take a breath before pronouncing that last name, but every Sunday with the Falcons, just when I think them in, they push me back out, which is the opposite of that movie scene. So we really killed two birds with one take there. Matthew also wants to know about his Texans. He said, pile them on. They may be fully cooked at this point.
Oh, my goodness. Can I get a few things off my chest about the Houston Texans?
Please.
This is unbelievably awful to watch. The Texans for 3 weeks have been a clown car on offense. And I like CJ Stroud. I've met CJ Stroud at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. I think he's a really fine young man that wants to do the right thing. But my goodness, does this look like they have been set back 3 years from his rookie season? They can't move the football. He cannot keep the football from being turned over. He's throwing it into traffic. He's making bad decisions. The offensive line is leaky. They can't run it. They can't throw it. And at quarterback, he looks completely lost. I don't know how you go from that rookie season to being this lost, but this is now squarely on the offense, and this is panic level 10 out of 10. I mean, the fact is, if you go 0-3, you don't make the playoffs. It just statistically, the data tells you you're just not going to make the playoffs. Also in the AFC, maybe you've had some help because the Chiefs have started off 0-2 and, Joe Burrow got injured, but you're not winning the division. That much is clear because already the Indianapolis Colts are 3-0 and you're 0-3. So the division's out the window. That's if you fix the offense. Are you going to be a wild card? I mean, and what would it take to be a wild card in the AFC this year? Minimum 10 wins, probably 11. So you've got to go 8. You've got to go 11-5 the rest of the way or something like that. 11-4. There's no chance. The season's over. It's cooked. And the fact, and I like D'Amico, and I like their drafting, and I thought they had the right weapons and I know they haven't had Joe Mixon, but still, this CJ looks so lost. It's so bad. By the way, let me just go back to the Panthers and Falcons game for one moment because I know that Brian asked about the jerseys as well. Those Panthers jerseys, the uniform combination is pretty cool. They got the Carolina blue tops and the black helmet with kind of the blue trim and then the black pants as well. That is a pretty tough look for the Panthers in a good way. So they look good. They played good today, and there were some good looks around the NFL. Patriots retro, Buccaneers retro, and then the Panthers with these alternates. All those teams look good today.
Yeah, it was throwback weekend all around, and we're going to get to a little bit more of that in the Little Mo Laugh of the Day. But first, a couple puns that need to be highlighted. Number one, Psych Mamter, member of the Jedi Council. He actually wrote in both of these. The Texans need Indiana Jones to stay in the Temple of Doom. Very well done. Indiana Jones really starting to pick on, or I should say, kick on. And then even better from Psych, when your Penix fails to rise to the occasion, very embarrassing. So very well done. Let's end with also I'll shout out to Juan, who's watching on X and reposted the stream for his followers as well. Thank you, Juan.
Cool.
And 2 questions here. I guess this is producing on the air. B squared. Because of the 18-year-old intern and his baby photos on the wall, that's Jack Knight, Mr. Night School. We need a new segment. And he mentioned this because Leila also had pictures behind her as well. Any guests with photos on behind them? Let's explain what they are.
Good one. That's a really good one. Yeah, if you have a photo of yourself on the back wall, we need at least an explanation of one of those. That's a good one. That's mandatory. If you're going to get a bottle of Santo Tequila, then you got to explain what's going on your back wall. And Jack would have to do it because, he works for the show. So whatever we ask him to do, he's got to do. So we'll have to have him back. He's in his freshman year. So this is his first semester on campus at Syracuse. And I think he's swimming in it. Aiden, we're on this kind of group email chain. And, I send out instructions for the week, what we need, blah, blah, blah. And so I sent him some videos to cut. And he reached out to me. He goes, DA, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Up from down. I got midterms coming up. I got this. I'm trying to, I go, don't worry, man. I go, classwork is the most important thing. I totally get it. We'll cover for you. Don't worry about it. And, he feels terrible, but I'm like, I know the feeling. Your first month on campus, you just, your head is on a swivel. You feel like you just got your bell rung by Ray Lewis every single day. You're like, what's going on around here? And my GPA dipped, and it wasn't even because I didn't care. It was just like I just couldn't keep track of everything, and everything just seemed so much harder. So I know where he's coming from.
The nicest guy ever. But that actually makes me feel better too, because I remember being there freshman year too. I'm still there. I'm sure everybody had a crazy week of work. It's September. People are not taking vacations anymore. Summer's over. People are back to work, including the students out there. So Jack, we're praying for you. We're thinking for you. Let's wrap it up with one last question. Based on the heels of what we were just talking about with Kristen Buffalo and being due soon, AJ doesn't count as a D-alien, does he? Does he not?
Yes, that's true. I kind of feel as though D-aliens are the listeners to the show and not my actual blood. Like, is the Bourbon Bella D-alien? I don't know. I mean, that's true.
No.
I mean, AJ is a diaper. It's, he's a new, a human being born into this, however you want to define this. But I always feel like it's kind of like my extended family, not my literal family. So I'd have to think about that. I did not consider him a literal diaper D-alien, but perhaps he does fit the definition. Yeah,
he's more of a creating diapers cleaned by D-alien type of the family. So
yes, indeed, we're still doing poopy diapers, but potty training is right around the corner. We have the potty ready to go, getting him familiar with it. I guess he took a bath the other day, and the Bourbon Bell turned around for like 30 seconds, and he had peed on the floor. And she's like, "Why did you do that?" He goes, "Why did I do that?" I don't know.
It did like the parrot phase.
Why did you do that? Why did I do that? Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, buddy.
Are you sure your son isn't Steve Urkel too, by the way?
Did I do that? Oh my gosh. It's been a very fun day. A little reminder. I got the golden ticket. If you're in the Western New York, upstate New York, Buffalo, Erie, PA area, if you're in that corridor, even if you're in Canada, the Toronto corridor, come to the listener meet and greet on Saturday at Sandbagger in Hamburg, New York, just outside of Buffalo. I'm coming in for the Bills and Saints game. It's not far from the stadium. It's 2 hours. Drinks are on me. 4 to 6. Sandbagger's the best, biggest golf simulator in Western New York. It's a sports bar and golf simulator. It's great for NFL football all day long on Sundays as well. I'm excited. Basically, we're hitting 2 years at SiriusXM coming up next week. And so I just wanted to say thank you for a wonderful 2 years to the listeners that, have really embraced the show, the ones that have come over from CBS or my other haunts and, subscribe to SiriusXM, those that have found the show through my work on NFL radio on SiriusXM. All that is just a beautiful thing, and I feel very grateful for it. So I wanted to pass along the gratitude to you guys. Drinks are on me. 4 to 6, Sandbaggers in Buffalo on Saturday. Be there or you're missing out. Somebody's buying you beer for 2 hours. Come on a Saturday to get your day, your night going, charged up, pregame with us, and then go out on a Saturday. And the weather's still amazing. Come on. Why not? Plus, primetime college football will be on right after us. College football will be going on as we're there. How could you not make it? Sandbaggers in Hamburg, New York on Saturday, 4 until 6. I got the golden ticket. In the comment section, hit me with that emoji. Hit me with that Wonka emoji. Hit me with that. I need to see more Wonka emojis. I love it. I love when you guys add the emojis in there to the comment section, because as Wallace says, fizzy lifting drinks are on D.A. That's right. It's on me. I'm hooking you guys up, and I'm excited to meet and greet and have a good time and see all you guys and hug it out. Have a good time. Cheers. Booskies. All right, before we get out of here, so that you guys can watch a little Sunday Night Football, let's do a little Mo laugh of the day. And the Little Mo laugh of the day is always very fun because we get to think about his laugh and what makes him laugh, and just the type of things that remind you about all the good things, all the stuff that keeps you alive, keeps you charged up, keeps you positive. We love those types of stories here. Happy, fun time. And he was the best at it. So, Aiden, what do we got here for Little Mo's laugh of the day? Take us through this. Yes, we have today's NFL Today Throwback Edition. 50 years celebrating the NFL Today on CBS, and they did the retro set. They had Brent Musburger do the You're Looking Live, and then James Brown and company wearing 70s gear, 70s attire, and 70s hair. Look at Matt Ryan doing Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. You got Nate Burleson, who cut his own hair, big butterfly collars and everybody. Look at Bill Cowher. Look at how he looks with a Fu Manchu and hair. He looks straight out of the 70s. That's a good look for Cowher. Power. So that was pretty cool. Good job by the NFL Today on CBS. Nance in front of the green screen, live from the Met in Minnesota. Look at that. That used to be football stadiums, kids. That used to be football stadiums. Basically, like, only one side of football stadiums were done. And the other side was parking lots and trees and grandstands moved in because they were multi-purpose stadiums. The Twins used to play there. That's how we used to do it. Yeah, none of these giant bowl palaces with ribbon boards and jumbotrons and Wi-Fi at every seat. No. You used to sit in the upper deck and see out the stadium because the other side was open. So that was so cool. Good job by CBS tapping into it. And if you're a listener of my CBS Sports Radio days between 2013 and 2023, you know that on Sunday mornings I did Sunday Morning Football, and it was all retro TV jingles. And we opened with the NFL Today theme song. And I always love those old theme songs. All the old CBS theme songs are just amazing, especially from the NFL days. Old 70s and 80s NFL jingles. I just love those. And so we used them. And seeing the NFL Today do the same thing this morning was really cool. Loved seeing that. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Wonka D.A. out. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. We'll be breaking down the day of the NFL, including tonight's Chiefs and Giants game. And like I said, I will see you on Saturday in Buffalo, and then Sunday for the tailgate as well. I'm going to be tailgating with Game Day Hospitality just outside of the stadium. They've got a great tailgate, and we'll be doing a big thing over there. So if you want to go to the game as well and tailgate before, hit me up on social and give you the link to that. But Game Day Hospitality in Buffalo does it right. I can't wait. So that's going to be awesome. It's an all-inclusive thing. You get a wristband. You get all you can drink, all you can eat. They got wings. They got burgers. They got amazing stuff. They got top shelf stuff. They got music. They got a mechanical buffalo to ride. It's just awesome. So I'll be there. It's going to be a good weekend up in below. All right. Thanks to Aiden Hatton, your Marquette Marvel and executive producer of Watch D.A. Live. And thank you to all you guys, the D-Aliens. You make me happy. I appreciate it very, 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 very much. I was just having dinner the other night with some family friends, and they were just remarking like, man, your listeners are really awesome. You know, they're just ride or die, and they all come together, and you can just tell the love you guys got. And I go, I know, man. I'm so lucky and blessed to have you guys support this show and what we do. That I talk about you even when you're not listening. So very cool. I appreciate it. Love you very much. We will see you guys tomorrow morning. Until then, the mothership disconnects. I got the golden ticket.